What's up, America? It's your girl bringing you some news you can use. We are live at the #1 internet radio station, IntellectualRadio.com, which is an iHeart radio station. And boy, do we have a great show for you today. In the building, we have University of Chicago, and we're going to be talking about a great subject. So make sure you inbox your friends, tweet them, Instagram them, and tell them get tuned in. Today, we're going to be sharing information, introspection, and providing inspiration. So we're also going to talk about, in the top of the hour, we have University of Chicago. We're going to talk about HIV awareness. And then at the bottom of the hour, you know, for you entrepreneurs, business owners, I always have that social media business tips to help us get our revenue to the next level every month. This is the end of the month. And so whatever your goals are, you only have about 3 more days to make that happen. And so, and then, you know, next month, since I had the pleasure of broadcasting and filming Shark Tank behind the scenes, we are going to be reading Damon John's book for the month of July every Thursday, the power of broke. And who knows, he may surprise us and call in and answer questions. So I'm going to lay the outline out how many chapters, where we're going to be, what we're going to discuss, and hopefully the information in there, because I've been reading it and it's very powerful. I've been practicing some of the things already. It will take your income, if your mindset is correct, to the next level every month. You can increase your income. So, but it does take work. Like I tell everybody, in their status, just hit it. It happens with work. And a lot of us are afraid of the word W-O-R-K. Yes, so we can't be afraid of the word work. Of course, I want to thank everybody who attended my grant writing workshop. It was really, really nice, really successful. And so they have their homework assignments that they got yesterday. And so they have 5 weeks to write their first grant, and I will critique it. And then if they have all their paperwork in order, then I will be submitting it for them to get revenue for their new startup business or existing business. And so the next grant writing workshop, if you were not able to attend the one that we had in June, the next one will be August 5th. So save the date. It's Friday, August 5th. Of course, you know, you'll get a packet full of information that you'll leave with. We're going to have breakout sessions. You're going to learn how to promote your product, service, or brand, how to generate revenue, and how to collaborate, and then social media tips. And then your homework assignment will be to write your first grant if you have not already written one. So if you have not registered, please call Creative Choices at 708-343-8799. Again, that number is 708-343-8799. Write it down, people. Write it down. So, you know, we got to pay some bills. We got our sponsors. And of course, University of Chicago is our new sponsor. So where's my cowbell? Yay! And so we're going to take a pause for the cause. We're going to come back and we're going to introduce the University of Chicago. You know how we do. We leave, we come back, and we have people sitting here on the panel. That's how we roll. IntellectualRadio.com, which is an iHeart radio station, and we're guaranteed to feed your brain on iThirst Tuesday. Back in a moment.
Hi, my name is Tina Olivia Pate. Listen to Making Waves with Miss Darci on IR and iHeart radio station, Tuesday and Thursday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We love you, Miss Darci.
Hey, this is Lenny Williams, and I enjoy listening to IntellectualRadio.com and Making Waves with Miss Darci.
It's a new year and the first anniversary of our revolutionary acne treatment. To celebrate, we have an amazing new offer for you. Order Proactive Plus, and for a special limited time, you'll pay just $19.95. Imagine yourself with skin so clear and beautiful, you feel confident to go after all the things you want. Make it happen today with Proactive Plus.
That's a huge difference. Look at that. Proactive Plus makes me feel amazingly beautiful.
Proactive Plus is dermatologist developed to help seek out and fix problem areas on your skin. And it's proven to work 4 times faster than the leading prescription.
This product is doing it. I started seeing results with Proactive Plus within the first week.
Now's the best time ever to order because we're offering extra savings to first-time customers. Call 1-800-773-5681 to get our 3-step system plus free gifts and free shipping. All just $19.95.
I use Proactive Plus every day. Like, I literally use this stuff.
Did you know that VetLife Inc. is hiring? They have great opportunities available to work for city and federal contracts. They are currently looking for journeymen, tradesmen, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and painters. If you have these extraordinary skills or know someone who has experience and skills in the construction business industry and would like to work for city and federal contracts, short and long term, please have them reach out to vetlifeinc@gmail.com. Again, that's vetlifeinc@gmail.com, or visit their website at www.vetlifeinc.com, www.vetlifeinc.com. Or you can reach out to them at 773-941-8289. Again, that number is 773-941-8289. If you're looking for employment and you would like to work as a contractor for the city and federal, then please reach out to vetlifeinc@gmail.com. They're waiting to hear from you.
Welcome back to Making Waves with Miss Darci. We broadcast live here at IntellectualRadio.com every Tuesday and Thursday. So you get to see me twice a week. So you're probably just as happy as the super producer is. So joining us today is the University of Chicago, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. As I told you, we do magic tricks here.
So I'm Katie Berenger. I'm here with my coworker Mario Pierce, and we work at the University of Chicago at the Chicago Center for HIV Elimination.
Okay, and just so I forgot to say, if this is your birthday, happy birthday to you from Making Waves with Miss Darci and crew. If you're celebrating an anniversary, a divorce, whatever it is, if you happy, we happy. You like it, we love it. And so I want to say that this week will be the last week to call in for your elevator pitch. You can have your chance to win $200 cash. So if you don't, then my team have already decided how we're going to split this money 3 ways and spend it this week. And then next month we will have a new promo, and it's going to be very interesting. And then coming in the fall, we're going to have the dating game. So we're going to tell you all about that. Coming up, we have a new sponsor that's also into connecting people together, whoever have trouble finding that special male or that special female. So we're going to be talking about that. And so we'll give you all the details later. And so I want to thank Catherine. I don't know if you want me to call her Katie, and Mario for being here today. So tell us a little bit about what you do. And we're going to start with Mario, Katie, because he wants to put you on the spot. So I'm going to put him on the spot. Okay, good. So tell us a little bit about what you do, Mario.
How you doing? My name is Mario Pierce, and I am the Prep Chicago coordinator at University of Chicago and the Village, and also I'm team lead for Young Men's Community Programming. And pretty much what that entails is developing and creating safe spaces for youth and young adults of color to come and learn, to have access to testing, linkage to care, education, and pretty much just drop-in services, wraparound services for youth and young adults on the south side of Chicago.
Okay, and what's the age group when you say youth? What's the What's the age group that you're working with?
So it depends on the programming. My particular program is 17 and over, but we do have services for young adults as low as 14. Yeah, so YHOC is 14. The youth youth health leadership core that starts with 8th graders, 14 and over.
So now, do they come to the University of Chicago, or are you going to the schools? How are you doing the program?
A lot of the recruitment happens via phone or face to face.
Okay.
And what happens is there's a relationship usually developed with the principal or someone that oversees the programming in the schools.
Okay.
And then that person helps to kind of create the relationship, and then the students come to the campus or our satellite office, which is the village.
Okay.
And they receive.
And so you say they start as early as 14, so that's like 8th grade. And so when you go to the school, do you have like a curriculum? Are you teaching them safe sex? What type of things are you talking to them about? And are they receptive?
Oh wow! So they are very receptive. They're learning research methods. They're learning ways to conduct research. They're definitely learning sexual health practices. They are creating their own kind of programs to deliver to other high school students. And so we had a big day last semester where other high school students came to campus at the School of Social Service Administration, and we did some breakout sessions. It was over 80 students.
Really?
Came
male and female?
Oh yeah, male and female. Came from 4 different high schools, and they also had the opportunity after the breakout sessions to take HIV or STI test. Yeah.
Really? And so were they afraid to take it, or did they want to take it, or maybe after the training that you provided prompted them to take it more so?
Surprisingly, most people wanted to take them.
Okay.
But I did hear a little pushback from a few in the breakout sessions, and so that was my time to motivate them and to kind of encourage them.
You sound one of them smooth talkers, so you probably had them all like mesmerized.
So what I did was I actually stepped back, because prior to that I taught them the information they learned, and it was up to them to stand in the front and do the presentations with their PowerPoints and everything, while I kind of stood back. But if I needed to step in, I did.
Oh, that's good. And actually they learn to be public speakers on that type of subject, and then they can also share it with their friends. Because when I first heard of HIV, now y'all tell me if it's the same thing, because y'all know I really don't know, but I think I do. HIV, is that what Magic Johnson had or has? Yeah. So and that was so long ago, and when I heard that he had it, I was like, I knew of him, but didn't know him, personally. And I was just really scared for the players and the teams, and didn't know a lot about, sometimes we don't know a lot about something and we just automatically react. So then I was like, oh, what would I say to somebody if they had, if you found out they were HIV positive? And then a lot of people were dying, maybe because they wasn't getting the proper care, or maybe they found out, too late, because the majority of people think that we practice, I know I do, safe sex, right? And then when it comes to the point where they say you need to go get tested, and you're like, okay, who you done slept with? And then you don't know if that person has slept with somebody else, and then it continues. Yeah. So not only do it affect you, but it affect, other individuals. So I used to be really like scared, and I had to do we have to do our research. We have to investigate. With social media, everything is so available, to us. So I'm glad to hear that, after you talk to them, they were able to step, especially as young as 14. And I'm hearing young girls and young boys that's actually, having sex at 10 and 11. A lot of girls are getting pregnant at such a young age. I think I was still playing with dolls at 10. So it's just, the world, everything is changing, as we grow. So Catherine, tell me what your role is at University of Chicago. Tell us what you do.
So I work on a lot of the same programs as Mario. Most of the work that I do is on PrEP, which Mario was talking about a little bit, or HIV pre-exposure prophylaxis. So I'm not sure if that's something everybody.
Pre-what?
Pre-exposure prophylaxis.
And what? Now I was with you till you got to that word. Right. So tell me what that word means, because I know half these folks that's watching don't know what that means.
So PrEP is really exciting. It's a new HIV prevention strategy, and it's a daily pill that you can take to prevent HIV infection. So it's a lot like the birth control contraceptive pill, but for HIV. So if it's taken every day, it's up to 99% effective at preventing HIV transmission, even if you were to be exposed to HIV.
Is that for men and women?
So it's approved for men and women, and for young people as young as 16. Under 16, I think it's also still possible to use, but you would need
consent.
Right.
Okay, so 16 and over, they don't need consent, but under
Right.
16, they need consent. Okay.
And then so we a lot of the work we do is so the group that Mario works on, PrEP Chicago, is about is a group program to provide information about PrEP. And Mario can talk more about a peer-led about sharing information, training people to be ambassadors to share information about PrEP. And then a lot of the work that I do, so my background's in social work. So I work with people who are interested in PrEP to talk through whether it's a good option for them, and then all of the steps involved in accessing medical care. And then I also work with people who are recently infected with HIV, or have been living with HIV, but are not currently connected to medical care, and I work with them to connect to medical care as well.
Do you have people that come to you all, and this is for both of you all, whoever wants to answer, Mario or Katie, people come to you and maybe they're afraid to take the test because they probably, not that we're judging, maybe when they were younger, they were just enjoying life, if that's what you want to call it. And then now that they're older, they're going like, maybe I should have a test. Or they found out that somebody that they may have had sex with is HIV positive.
Yeah, so I think there's, sorry to cut you off, but I think there's still a lot of stigma with HIV. It's actually, there have been so many advances that, Magic Johnson, I think, is a great example of someone who's,
because he had it forever and he's still walking around.
Who's healthy and vibrant and living with HIV. And really, the way that treatment works these days, if you are on your medication and connected to care, your life expectancy, the quality of your life can be just as, your life can be just as long, and the quality of your life can be just as high as anyone who's not living with HIV. So, but I think there's still a great degree of stigma around HIV diagnoses. So it can still be really hard to process that diagnosis. So we do see that to be the case with people taking the test, or even people who may have been have received a diagnosis a while ago but have not been ready to kind of process that or link to care. So we a big part of what I do is to talk to people about both HIV treatment and PrEP, and to assist with anything in that process, either any way that we can to facilitate people being able to start medical care and get the treatment that can really.
Now, when you say stigma, because I know, I was like, okay, that would be me. When you say stigma, I know probably half of America are still afraid to interact with somebody. So tell us, what are the symptoms or the signs? And is there a difference between, how do I want to say it, HIV positive, or if you're just caring? Is it like is it like two different things, or am I saying it right? I think you kind of understand what I'm asking.
So I'll start off with the stigma comment. Stigma is definitely tied into the testing piece, where, yes, we see plenty of people who either haven't had a test in a while or have never tested. And so, yes, it is my job and others to kind of encourage people to test, because that's the only way. So that kind of alludes to the question about, is there other symptoms, or is there a particular look? Because the only way to know is to test.
So there's like no sign. People used to say, well, if you don't wash your hands, it's on the toilet seat.
No. So shaking hands and that casual contact, you cannot contract HIV
kissing.
that way. No. And so there needs to be blood-to-blood contact or body fluids exchanged before HIV can be exchanged.
Sexually?
Yes, sexually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that does cover semen and breast milk. And
even
vaginal
milk?
secretions, yes, things like that. But yeah, there has to be some sort of change of fluid before the virus can be.
So you couldn't just walk up to somebody and say, "Oh, you nothing would show. And then for individuals who are watching and listening and maybe afraid to take the test, what advice would you give them as far as taking the test and why they should, even if they feel that they are practicing safe sex? Maybe they in a committed relationship, but you still don't never know what the male or the female is doing, and you can't watch them 24/7. So a lot of times individuals, if they were not afraid to go and have the test, I think people are more afraid to go and worried about what the result is going to be. I remember when I took mine, I was like, when you going to find out? When you going to let me know? She was like, Darci will call you. I was on the phone. Did you find out yet? And so it makes you want to find out, but then you have that back of your mind saying, oh, what if I am? What advice would you give to someone who wants to take it and believe that they are not HIV positive? What would you say to them if they were watching right now? What would each one of you all say to in your own words?
So that often comes up. And so I always say testing is the only way. Taking a test is the only way, preferably a blood test, getting a doctor and just having the courage to go. And once you have that first breakthrough, then people continue to go regularly. But it takes that first time to kind of just have the courage and go and test every 3 to 6 months. Okay.
Oh, every 3 to 6 months? Hold on. Wait a minute. Every 3 to 6 months?
Why do people have to take a test, or why do you recommend that people take a test every 3 to 6 months?
So that ties into a lot of different things. So it has to do with habits, partners, and just kind of monogamy. So if you're monogamous and you kind of know the partners that you've been with or that partner that you've been with, testing is not as you don't need to do it as frequent. So the 6 month thing is cool, twice a year. But if a person has multiple partners, you want to make sure that you test every 3 months, which is every 90 days, due to a window period of HIV. And so HIV replicates in the system, and it doesn't, if a person comes in contact with HIV today, the chances are that if they test tomorrow, they're not going to show any results.
But in like 6 months they could. So I took mine a year ago. So are you saying you should take it every year or every 6 months?
So it depends on your partners. And if you have one partner, I would suggest twice a year. If you have multiple partners, I would suggest 4 times a year.
Wow. I hope people are listening, because I'm thinking I just do it one time. I know she suggested that I come back, but I was like, what for? I'm not, but that makes sometimes information you have to hear more than once, because we all receive information differently. And sometimes depending on where you are in your life, you say, I ain't gonna worry about it. But then you might say, if you have a sickness, if you diabetic, or if you have high blood pressure, I have migraines that can last anywhere from 4 to 7 days. If you're taking medication, if you're not eating right, getting proper rest, then you might want to go. And like Mario said, because we're not here to judge y'all. Just to let y'all know that if you are practicing safe sex, but you are monogamous and you have multiple partners, then you need to go 4 times a year to get tested.
And it takes about 4 weeks for the virus to show up in the body. And so you want to make sure that you test often. And that kind of answers his question as well.
Yeah.
And in terms of the advice that we would give someone who's feeling anxiety about taking that test, I think a big part of what we talk to people about who come in to see us is how many options there are, whatever the result is. So a lot of the pre-counseling for before someone's about to take the test is to talk through what each result could mean, what a reactive result or positive diagnosis would mean, what a negative result would mean, and what their options would be for both. And we have a whole team of people to support individuals who do test positive or who test negative and who may be vulnerable to HIV infection and would benefit from one of these prevention strategies like PrEP. So really to provide that support and assist people in every step along the process. And the testing is the entry point to all of those services and to the treatment that can keep people healthy, can reduce people's chances of being able to pass along HIV, and really to let them know what their status is so we can support them.
Now you said it was, so can you share what the
of HIV for so yeah, I think like the way, as Mario was saying, usually having HIV, so HIV can be in your system without causing any symptoms for many years. So, and that's part of what has made it so difficult throughout the history of HIV to treat and to understand HIV, is that it can be in your system for a long time without.
Why? Do you know why that is?
Just the way that the virus replicates.
Is it your immune system or your?
Yeah, so HIV attacks your, and again, I'm a social worker, not a medical doctor, so don't quote me, but HIV attacks your immune system. So if you're living with HIV, there are two tests or numbers that are important for you to keep track of, and that's your viral load. That's how much of the HIV virus is in your system, and then your T cell count or your CD4 count, and that the T cells make up your immune system. So you want to keep that number really high. And a person who's not living with HIV would have about 1,000 T cells. The longer you have HIV, the more those T cells would drop. And if they go below 200, that's when you would have an AIDS diagnosis. And that's when your immune system is compromised. And so you might be vulnerable to AIDS, AIDS-defined syndrome or AIDS quality. So things like
opportunistic infections.
Exactly. Thank you. So things like Kaposi sarcoma or other kind of PCP pneumonia or other things that might if you were living through the 90s, especially a lot of people who were
blatant.
But if you're on medication and your viral load is staying low, it allows your T cells to stay high so that you would be your immune system would stay strong and healthy. But it can take a very long time for those T cells to drop.
And it depends on the person. Just to piggyback off of that, STI testing is also important. So taking a test for chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, things like that, because syphilis, because what happens is those STIs can then open up the door for HIV to come in. And so because a lot of time when people test, they test positive for more than one STI at a time. It's important to know what's going on in the body, because once you are open to those infections, it's easier to contract HIV. And so that's why it's important to just go to the doctor and test regularly for STIs and HIV.
So the HIV testing positive is treatable depending on where you're at. And then if it's not treatable based on you not getting medical care, then does it turn into AIDS?
So HIV without treatment will become AIDS. There will become an AIDS diagnosis,
So what about individuals, I mean, even like myself, if they have a pre-existing condition, insurance is so hard to get. So I just kudos to Obama for steadfasting and just being determined to get medical care for a lot of individuals. I know a lot of individuals who couldn't afford Medicare. Health insurance, rather not Medicare, but health insurance. They could be an entrepreneur or they have a pre-existing condition, because a lot of times you have a pre-existing condition like myself, they don't matter. They just ain't gonna give you insurance. And so then to pay for insurance out of pocket is expensive. I mean, the medicine that I take for my seizures is $400 and some a month. And I couldn't get it just through regular insurance because I had a pre-existing condition. Then I developed the migraines, and that medicine was $100 and some a month. So you're talking about $500 and some, and I ain't even age yet. So a lot of individuals, because they don't have health care, their health deteriorates. I mean, people that have diabetes, high blood pressure, because they're not going to the doctor because they can't afford to go. So now that they have Obamacare, it afford the opportunity for it open up a lot of doors. I mean, I have to pay something, but it's not like it was, and I had to be proactive and write to the pharmaceutical company, which if anybody is watching and they're in that situation and for whatever reason didn't get Obamacare, because I know they're changing the rules come next year, but if you couldn't get it, whoever is your pharmaceutical company, you can write to them, and they do have a program where they'll sustain you. My seizure medicine, they sustained me for 5 years that I didn't have to pay for it. And that was like a blessing, because if you do $400 some, time 12 months, time 5 years, so we have to be proactive. Now, what if someone falls in the line, like I just said, and they cannot afford to get the HIV test? Does University of Chicago have a program to help individuals who cannot afford to take the test?
That's what good old Katie comes in.
Yeah. So a lot of what
Katie.
A lot of what I do is helping, assisting to navigate these systems and healthcare and insurance, and it can be just a big headache. But fortunately, first of all of the testing services we provide are completely free and might be incentivized. So we're having a testing event on Thursday, for example, a couples testing event. We're encouraging people to come with their partners, and then we'll be giving out pairs of movie tickets for everybody who comes in to get tested.
So how do they find? Now, I'm hoping that you're going to share this with me via email so that my social media team can post it.
Right.
So explain to people that are watching, if they want to come in to do this, the time, what they have to do, share it with us.
And that's a part of our drop-in program that's specifically for LGBT youth on the South Side. So we're encouraging people to come in for that testing event, and we have a Facebook page that we can share with Ramel and get in. But then once people come in for testing, which is again free and maybe incentivized, medical care. We work really hard so that financial barriers wouldn't get in the way of either HIV care or PrEP. So if that's a concern for everyone, that's something that we'll make sure we can assist people with. But for people who are living with HIV, who are HIV positive, Obamacare is such a blessing for our work and for connecting people to medical resources and medical care. But even before then, there's been so much good activism around HIV and AIDS that there are programs like the Ryan White program, like ADAP, the AIDS Drug Assistance Program, that have and Gilead assistance programs from the pharmaceutical companies. So Gilead's one of the pharmaceutical companies that makes anti-HIV medication. So all of those programs have made the same, and we would say this all the time, the same drugs that Magic Johnson's taking to stay healthy are free to any American. So I think that's really important to make sure that people know they can be in care and wouldn't have to take on any financial hardship for that. And then for PrEP as well, we make sure that it's free or affordable. So PrEP, the medication that prevents HIV, is covered by every insurance company in Illinois right now. And if it's not covered, we make sure we have a group of people who are all activists and advocates and make sure that we can do everything we can to make sure that it is covered. And then for people who are uninsured or who have private insurance and a high copay, there's a program from the company Gilead that makes Truvada, which is the PrEP medication, so that the entire cost of the copay or the medication itself.
So University of Chicago is letting you know, those who are listening and you want to share a strange show with other individuals, that you don't have to be afraid. You can always call University of Chicago and get this information. And Katie, being the nice person she is, since I just met her, she's at the end of the show. So if you have a question that you would like to ask Mario, Katie, please give us a call here at Intellectual Radio. Romeo, give them the number to call.
The number is 708-223-8953. 223-8953.
We'll take a pause for the cause. We're going to come back and we're going to continue to talk about HIV and AIDS and what you can do as an individual to protect yourself. IntellectualRadio.com. You're tuned in to Making Waves with Miss Darci. Back in a moment.
American Express for travel and entertainment worldwide.
Just show them this, the American Express card.
Don't leave home without it.
But someday, I may even use it on the moon. It's a marvelous thing.
Oh! So you can replace plane tickets, traveler's checks, a lost art. Really? That worked?
American Express's timeless safety and security are available on Apple Pay. The next evolution of membership is here.
Are bill collectors calling you? Are you afraid to answer the phone? Afraid of lawsuits, garnishments, losing your apartment, house, or car? Then call us for your debt relief options. I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Chapter 7 or 13 can relieve the debt pressure. Call us now for a free phone mini consultation or log on to infotapes.com. We're the law firm you trust to get you out of debt.
1-800-401-4010.
Good morning. What can I get for you?
A medium hot coffee, cream and 2 sugars, please.
Medium hot coffee, cream, 2 sugars. Sounds good.
At Dunkin', we make your coffee just the way you like it. If not, we'll make it again on the spot. That's the DD commitment. America runs on Dunkin'.
Good morning. What can I get for you?
A medium hot coffee, cream and 2 sugars, please.
Medium hot coffee, cream, 2 sugars. Sounds good.
At Dunkin', we make your coffee just the way you like it. If not, we'll make it again on the spot. That's the DD commitment. America runs on Dunkin'.
These 100% beef burgers are stacked with bacon, sweet bourbon sauce, and apparently my mom's fave, spicy sriracha sauce. Eat it. Don't tweet it, Mom.
Denny's Big Burger Bash, with burgers starting at $6.99. Denny's, welcome to America's Diner.
It's a new year.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, Making Waves with Ms. Darci every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we have our new sponsor in the building, University of Chicago, and they're sharing information about HIV, AIDS, how you can go and get the test, you know, discussing the fears, if you don't have health insurance. And so my question, which I have a lot of them, I'm sorry, is so individuals who say that they don't need to practice safe sex, what would you say to them? Because I hear this a lot among youth where they think that I don't know. I think they think that it just won't happen to them, but all they got to do is go on 26 in California, because the people that thought they wouldn't go to jail are sitting in jail. So what would you say? And I'm hearing this from young people. And so that's why I really want them to listen to this show and understand this affects their life. And then what would you say to someone who say, well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to have the test. I'm monogamous. I got, 4 or 5 male friends or 4 or 5 female friends, and it's just not going to happen to me.
Yeah. So this
Mario
comes up a
said,
lot.
call him.
Yeah, this comes up a lot. And so I try to not tell people what to do.
Right.
But I try to make suggestions. And because HIV and syphilis is, disproportionately affecting especially Black men on the south side
Syphilis?
of Chicago. Oh yeah.
Really?
It is affecting, Black men on the south side of Chicago primarily. I always say you don't know who other people are sleeping with. You don't know what other people are doing. And so it is important to take precautions. Realistically speaking, everyone doesn't like to wear a condom. And so now you have another option, which is the PrEP pill, and if that is you and, that this is speaking to you, PrEP is real. It is true. A person needs to get a doctor and test negative, okay, and get a prescription and begin the regimen. And like Katie mentioned earlier, PrEP is 99% effective, okay? And will not be able to contract HIV if they take this pill once a day based on the doctor's orders.
That's almost like taking the birth control pill.
Yeah.
So do I have to, if I were to get on PrEP, do I have to take the pill just one time or every single day?
So you take it one time every single day, and it doesn't provide any protection or coverage until after the first 7 days.
Okay?
Or about 4 weeks for women.
Yeah.
So if I'm
for women,
how many days for men?
7.
7 days. Once you start, it needs to be in your system 7 days.
That's 7 days in a row.
So that means you can't take it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then forget Thursday, Friday, and then start back over again, because that still got to be 7 straight days.
That's right.
And then, Katie, for women?
For women, it's about 4 weeks of
4
taking it
weeks.
to have that full protection. And if you miss some days or you're not taking it every day, you still have some protection. But to really have that full 99% protection, you want to make sure you have it enough in your system and have been taking it every day.
So just to clarify from Mario and Katie, so if for the men, it's 7 days. So if they miss, they need to start over and go 7 days consecutively, correct?
Correct.
Same thing for women, 4 weeks. If women take it for 2 weeks and then they forget, 4 weeks all over again, because it has to be straight, correct? Okay.
So like she said, there is some coverage, but I don't like to talk about that part because you need to
because then they'll focus on that part.
On that part.
Right.
Well, I did it. No excuses. Just take it for 7 days, consistently if you're a male, and then there's no issue.
Now, see, my only concern with that, when you say you can't tell, because I used to think you could just look at somebody and tell. So now you're going to really have me looking at people, but you can't tell. So then you're looking at people like that. Right. So if individuals cannot tell, on the downside, I hear people who have it mad that they have it and they're spreading it. So then they're sleeping with other people and not telling them that they have it.
Yeah, well, and I'll say I think that another reason that testing is so important is that most people who know that they're living with HIV are actually practicing much safer sex than people who aren't. I think, but it's important to know your status. So I think people are most at risk when their partner doesn't know their status and thinks they're HIV negative, but is actually living with HIV. So that's why it's really important to get the test, because we really do see a change in the way that people, once they know that they are HIV positive,
they make some changes in their life. So if you have taken the test, like myself, and you tested negative, you still need to go and be tested. If you're in a one-on-one relationship, you need to go and be retested 4 times a year. And I did not know that. So you need to be tested 4 times a year. If you have multiple partners, and we're not judging, but it's your health and your body, you need to go
How often?
No, I take that back. If you're like me and you're negative, you need to go. See, I'm messing up already. Think about that. You need to go twice a year, every 6 months. If you're sleeping with multiple people, you need to go 4 times a year. Is that correct?
That's what I suggest. Yes.
Okay. And again, just with the if with the way that treatment works, when people are on treatment and are called undetectable, where their viral load is so low they're undetectable, it's almost virtually impossible to transmit HIV. So we often say if you are really concerned about staying HIV negative, the safest person to have sex with in a lot of ways is someone who's HIV positive and on treatment. It's people who are HIV negative or think they're HIV negative and are unsure of their status that would be more likely to be able to pass it on to someone else. So it's actually having an HIV positive partner who's on treatment and education is actually in some ways the safest partner to have. So I think treatment is getting tested and getting treated is really important.
What about individuals who are just finding out that they're HIV positive, or even individuals that have full-blown AIDS? Do you all have any type of support group for them and their families? Can you share some light on that for us?
So, so again, I mentioned team lead for Young Men's Community Programming, and I hold a men's support group every first and third Wednesday of the month. It's called PAC at 1525 East 55th Street, Suite 205. Every first and third Wednesday of the month, and it's open, but it is in support of.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are people that are negative, there are people that are positive that come, and there are people that don't know that are come. And
So somebody like me who don't even know can come and just keep my mind, and listen and
as
learn.
long as you're male identified, yes.
Oh well, no, I won't be coming. You got one. No, I won't be coming, Mario. I'm sorry. I have to meet you under another circumstance.
And a lot of that, what we do is try to have people available to provide that crisis counseling, that counseling and support, to connect people to mental health services and other support groups, because it is, and I think the treatment side of HIV, the medical treatment side, has actually gotten a lot simpler. So we'll talk to our nurse practitioner, and the medical care is actually not that complicated these days. But it can really be that emotional side of processing what that new diagnosis means, processing that change in people's lives, that is really important for us to have that support and offer that support. So we don't currently have a group specifically for people who are newly infected, but our another team at the hospital does, that will connect people to, and we make sure to have other resources around the city.
So do they have support groups for women?
I don't know if there's currently. I'd have to check in with one of my colleagues on the pediatric side, which is
they have one on the pediatric side.
Yeah.
So Mario, the one that you have, can the family members, like let's say a young guy has it, so can his dad come? Not necessarily his mom, but to kind of learn, like how to deal with that individual, because I'm sure they're going to have ups and downs. Do they have the same? Now, the program that you have for the males, is it just for individuals who are testing HIV, or is it also for individuals who have full blown, or just somebody curious like me?
So it's for everyone, as long as you're male identified, 17 and over. It is it's a pretty exclusive group, but we have days where we bring our family and friends, loved ones. So one time I did an accountability day where people brought brothers or fathers or uncles or whatever. But typically it's a lead and it's for the members. But because there's kind of rolling admissions and new people come all the time, if a person brings their dad the first time, I'm open. That's fine.
So since you've been having the support groups, do you think them talking about it is helping them? Because they become once and then maybe come for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Is their mental, as far as coping with it and handling it, is it better or does it stay the same? Because when we talk about it, then that's like therapy.
I often suggest, what I call it in the group is peeling back layers. I often suggest talking and open up, because I feel like communication is the key to all of the things that we need, whether it's testing or dealing with whatever we go through in our families and our lives. And so topics include sex, sexuality, families, relationships, housing, education. It covers all of that in the support group. But Yeah, it's an intellectually stimulating group that kind of opens people up.
Because individuals, what I'm learning, a lot of individuals won't go for therapy.
Right.
Support group is somewhat like therapy.
Oh, it is.
And so when you don't go, that may be, when you go, that could help maybe some other underlying issues.
It does.
With my migraines, I kept saying, why me, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to find out, if it was in my family genes, if it skipped a generation, and then how do individuals deal with it? Because people say, oh, it's just a headache. But a chronic migraine is not the same as a regular headache.
Right.
And so sometimes individuals be like, well, I don't understand. And so that's what made me seek out a support group for people that deal with migraines, because the pain could be like, I mean, I've had it for 10 days and had to stay, it was in ICU. Mm-hmm. Because the migraine was so intense that it brought on a seizure. Mm-hmm. So when people say, oh, it's not just a headache. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it helps you cope with, like you said, Mario, in other parts of your life, because that's your illness or your sickness is a part of your life. And so if you keep it bottled up inside, yes, it could affect so many other different things. Mm-hmm. You can be mad all the time. You can cry all the time, mm-hmm. And people don't know what to do because you're not sharing it. So they don't know what's wrong. They think you're just mean, mm-hmm. or they think, it's mental, and it's not necessarily that. And people get labeled that way because they have an illness and are not talking about it. So it's nothing wrong with talking to someone. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It's just mean you're not keeping all that stuff bottled up, inside.
In the support group, we often promote releasing and, not bottling things in, like you said. And, each member receives love when they walk in the door. And I think that, once people get comfortable talking about the different things that affect us every day in life, it eventually kind of takes the layers away, and people learn to love themselves even more. And then once you begin to love yourself even more, if there's a situation of an HIV diagnosis, then you care more about yourself, and now you want to take care of that. So, yeah.
And it helps you grow. I think it helps individuals grow as an individual. And I think that support groups is not necessarily for HIV or full-blown AIDS. It could be for anything. There are support groups just about, when I went searching for migraines, they have support groups for everything. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they're at a hospital or at a center or a clinic, and they're free. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to broadcast it. If you think you need to go, take care of you. And that's a lot of things. We be worried about what somebody else is going to say. But you only have one life. So if you're not living it to your, that's on you. So individuals who, I know you guys have to talk about safe sex. Mm-hmm. So what about individuals? Do you talk to them about like condoms and the different protections? Can one of you all let individuals know, male and female, what's available to them to prevent having STD or HIV, other than sustaining, other than just not having sex at all?
Yeah. And I think we were talking a little bit before too about safer sex practices and things. And I think it's important when we talk to people about condoms or PrEP or whatever prevention options to remember, like, in general, most people across the board are engaging in the same behavior. So in general, most people aren't using condoms all the time.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons.
I know some of the reasons. No offense, Mario, Romeo, Earl, and Khalil. But I know a lot of men be talking about, I don't need to do that because it don't feel the same. Right. But you want to feel the same or have HIV? Yeah. I mean, really?
Well, I think that's true. And I think also just intimacy. I think a lot of times people will use condoms with new partners, but then once they have a regular partner and who they trust and who they love and who they feel intimate with, the condom goes away, and that's actually when a lot of people who are more vulnerable from their primary partner than from a partner that they might be a more casual partner. But I think, even though the rates of the kind of behaviors tend to be the same across the board, HIV really does disproportionately affect particular communities. And like Mario was saying, in Chicago, it's really disproportionately affecting young gay and bisexual men and transgender women on the South Side. So we really
transgender women?
Yeah, and so we really try to focus our services and provide resources for those communities. So that we're, because I think we see that as different communities are differently affected, to make sure that the resources are following to
those individuals. Yeah.
Exactly.
So since I have a male and a female, I'll let Mario go first since I had to attack the men. Just kidding. So Mario, I understand that there are contraceptives for men. Can you share with our viewers?
Sure. So anything different from PrEP and condoms?
Isn't it something else? I heard somebody say that there was another protection for men that men can use, and then I'll have Katie share with women
that anybody can use.
So there's a list. I promote condom usage and lubrication. For those that don't like condoms, like we mentioned before, extra lubrication helps. Believe it or not, and also the PrEP pill. Taking that PrEP pill to keep from contracting HIV.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any other contraceptive for men that they had?
So specifically for men, I can't think of it right now.
Somebody said that, so they might be wrong. That's why I'm asking.
That I mentioned before?
Well, I remember when I was taking HIV counseling courses, they just talk about a whole bunch of lists of buffets that can help you protect yourself against HIV and STIs. You can...
Yeah, so it depends on the type of sex. So like I'm thinking of like dental dams and so if you like oral sex, there are dental dams to protect the mouth.
Ejaculation.
Jerking stuff.
See, I knew I could get it out of them, just a matter of time. Men be trying to act like they all shy, but see, I can pull it out of them.
So
Katie,
I'm sorry. There's one more thing called outer courses, what we promote too. So doing things outside of the body opposed to always going in.
So and we talk a lot about
no, we'll do another show for that after the show. Katie.
Yeah, I think like Romeo was saying, we try to talk about harm reduction and different options. So instead of like safe sex and unsafe sex, really it's like a spectrum, and there are ways that whatever you're doing now, there are ways to introduce more things that could put you at less risk, could make you a little bit less vulnerable to HIV. So whether that's outer course or mutual masturbation
or after the show. so what
instead of higher risk activities.
What are some of the things that you could say to individuals who are watching, who have like multiple partners, as the downside of what could happen with STDs or HIV or AIDS?
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes people need to be scared straight. So if they just blatantly choose, which is their choice, not to use any form of protection, their risk is higher. And so what are some of the dangers of them, inheriting an STD or getting HIV and still not getting tested? What are some of the dangers that you say, just like if you go past this red light and the police is on the other side of the street, he gonna pull you over because you done ran this red light, or you didn't stop for that $100 ticket. So what could you say to individuals? It's almost like a scared straight, because people need to know how serious it is. Because as you said at the beginning, if their certain levels are not where they need to be, if someone is taking medicine and maybe their immune system or their metabolism is low, they may be more susceptible to getting HIV or whatever. I don't know, I know you said something about 1,000. That's all I remember. But I know you said it. And so if somebody that's sickly all the time and may be susceptible, then they may have a greater chance in getting it than me. So what could you say to individuals who are watching who's saying, well, you know what, I don't believe that happened to me. So what would be the dangers? Man, I don't want you to scare them, but I want you to scare them a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll
Mario
give this one to Mario too, because I'm. But from my perspective and for the work that I do, I actually think the fear can be what keeps people from getting tested, and a lot of times the fear is I don't think it's that people don't have enough fear; it's that they can have too much. And I think letting people know what's available for treatment, and a lot of people, especially in communities who are really affected by HIV, their fear can become synonymous with sex. And I think, some people say the number one side effect of PrEP, the pre-exposure prophylaxis, is peace of mind and being able, sometimes for the first time, to have sex without fear. And I think that's important. And I think that's important for the same way that the birth control pill in the 60s helped women to live without the fear of becoming pregnant.
That's still that 1% though.
Right.
That's why a lot of people walking around right now, because that 1%. So nothing is really 100% proof, that it won't happen, to you. But I was just trying to let them know that the fear is there, because I waited a long time before I had it, and I know I'm practicing safe. But that relief after getting the results back was amazing. But now I got to go again, twice a year. But that's why it's good to educate yourself, and somebody can tell you one thing and somebody else can tell you something else, and then by the time you hear about it, it done went up and down. Somebody done left out something. And so we have all social media. We have so much available to us now to do our research, So, and then knowing that the services are free. So the individuals who can't pay to go, now they'll be able to know that if that's what's keeping them from going, now they can go. Now, are there any side effects? Because I know my medicine got side effects. I didn't ask y'all about that. I just thought about it. Are there any side effects to the pill?
Yeah.
So there are minimal side effects to the PrEP pill. What people have reported is that there's some nausea during the first week or so, a little bit of stomach ache, but nothing major has been reported based on the PrEP pill. And so one person has taken it for a couple of days, the body gets used to that. Have you heard anything different?
Yeah, and I think they're even working on a new medication that would be more specific for HIV prevention. So the same medication that's used for PrEP can also be used as a part of a regimen to treat HIV. And now I think they're changing up the formula to make even fewer side effects for people who are taking it for prevention.
Is there a cure for AIDS? I know that's like a loaded question, but I had to get it out there because I'm inquisitive. I ain't gonna say I'm nosy, but I'm inquisitive.
So once a person has an AIDS diagnosis, that diagnosis sticks with them. But a person can be treated back to health to make sure that their life, is sustained. Yeah.
Like Magic Johnson. Y'all take notes from Magic Johnson because he's still here and still living his life.
So previously when Katie was mentioning the numbers, and when, the particular falls under that 200, that's when the person can receive an AIDS diagnosis. And so the purpose of, visiting the doctor regularly, taking your blood test to see where your counts are, taking your medicine regularly as the doctor prescribes is important. It's because it keeps the numbers above 200.
So what are the numbers now? Do we have numbers for Chicago as far as HIV and AIDS? Do we have a ratio?
So I don't have that surveillance data with me.
Okay.
But I do know a lot of the research that I study is for the, men of color on the South Side, and a few I can just think of off the top of my head. There's a recent, I think it was a CDC report that, over time, 1 in 2 Black MSM will contract HIV.
Is it more
lifetime?
Is it more prevalent for males than it is for Is it LGBT?
So when you say males, you mean heterosexual males. So yeah, Black MSM, that means men who sleep with men, have higher rates. Yeah. And so it's important that, again, caring for yourself, doctor's visits, having someone to talk to, getting love, from support groups or friends or family members or social workers is important to get.
Now, two last questions. I know y'all tired of me asking questions, but do you all provide individuals who have like full-blown AIDS? Do you have like a care program where because don't they have to go and stay somewhere? Or can they stay in their own home?
So typically we have wraparound services, and I know maybe you might know a little bit more. We have wraparound services to kind of help people deal with all kinds of things. We also have a medical doctor on site and a nurse practitioner. And so, those of us, like I'm on the education side of things, though I'm teaching the workshops and stuff, I'm allowing people to make appointments and go. I won't get that information, but we do have people that will help them with their care.
Okay.
And I know Katie is a linkage person as well. So say I teach a workshop on a particular Tuesday and people are interested in testing afterwards. When they go in those rooms to talk to the nurse practitioners or the phlebotomist, they share with them their personal information. And then whatever they share with them, it goes to either our nurse practitioner or our medical doctor from there.
Okay. For like they follow up.
Yes, for the follow-up. And it could be that day or it could be an appointment made.
Okay, I know y'all excited. This is gonna be my last question, I promise. So how did you guys get into HIV, being for education for yourself, you as far as insurance, PrEP? What made you want to provide those services and take that career? See, I told y'all it would be my last question. Well, next to I thought of another one.
Well, for me, so I actually grew up in New York City, and
you came here?
Yeah, I came to Chicago. I came here for school and then stuck around. But the neighborhood that I grew up in was really disproportionately affected by, in the 90s, and that was a part of my childhood was seeing my parents' friends and just the city and our community affected by HIV. But when I really became involved in HIV was through an AmeriCorps program after college. I worked in Washington, D.C., which has really exceptionally high rates of HIV. I was working with women who are incarcerated, and which is a community of people that are women who are involved in the criminal justice system, actually really disproportionately high vulnerability for HIV. So we were doing HIV prevention programs there, and I think it was really the social side and the human side of HIV that made me so interested in working in the field and drew me into social work too.
Is it higher in jail than it is here? Like, okay, you've been in Washington, you've been in New York, and now you're in Chicago. So for women, was the rate higher in jail than out?
Yeah, so for women who were incarcerated, the rates were even higher than in the general population in DC. And the rates in DC in the general population were pretty high too. So we provided care both for women who were already HIV positive and for women who were HIV negative and might be at risk. So, and as we're sharing numbers, I just wanted to share the number for our PrEP line. So this is.
Oh, hold on, let him finish. I'm gonna get that's the last.
All right, that'll be the last thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. So
you need a
pretty
drum roll,
loaded, but I'll keep it minimal. Just pretty much some similar stuff that I didn't even know that we kind of did similar work in the past, but just being able to having the desire to be an educator, which I've taught for years, and then also wanting to bring the human side of what is not easy to understand to people, that can identify with me and the way that I look. And so when you have, complex and complicated research, and you're trying to get a community of people to understand it, sometimes it takes, people like myself to be able to break that down for others, and so that they can give them the confidence to continue and to persist, on with life. And then the personal side of it was just, losing friends to something that I didn't understand as a teenager. And so
that was my question. Yeah. Had you all experienced someone that you were close to, or someone that was, in the immediate, not in the immediate family, but, in that circle that had, that tested HIV, because that affects when you don't know the person is one thing, just like with a shooting, you don't, it's so much crime going on, but then if it's somebody that hits home, it makes you say, wow. Yeah. So it affects you a little different.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, the first time I ever heard of, the first time I ever heard of HIV and AIDS was in 5th grade. So I remember my teacher, my science teacher, was kind of sickly and coughing a lot and just, you can tell he was pretty ill, and took some time off, leave of absence. And, some months later, after having a substitute, for a long period of time, the principal got on the alarm system PA and announced that our teacher had passed away from AIDS. And so that was 5th grade.
And they actually said that was what they passed. Wow.
Yeah. And so at that time, again, not really sure about what that was.
Okay.
Learning over time. And then my my first friend who passed away from HIV and AIDS was in 1998. And so going, a decade later, hearing this thing again and still not clear, I began to talk more and read more, research more, and share. And then that's when I met people to kind of teach me, like, whoa, this is real. It's affecting people like us that look like us, and we have to do something about that.
I agree. And now Romeo, co-host, is following your footsteps, because now he's on that path with HIV awareness. And so let's let our listeners and viewers know how they can contact you. University of Chicago, phone number, website, if you have any groups on social media, you want to share that with them right now?
Great. Yeah. So the number that's the best way to get in touch with us for any of our programs, but especially for PrEP, is our PrEP line, which is 872-215-1905. And if people saw the Prep for Love campaign that was on the CTA back in February, and it should be coming back later this summer, that was the ad campaign that had different couples embracing, and then words like spread love, transmit heat, kind of playing on words that are often used for disease, but for intimacy and connection. So that was, the PrEP line was advertised on that, and will be coming back up this summer too. But again, it's 872-215-1905. So if you have any interest in getting started on PrEP, or learning more about PrEP, or getting more information to pass along to people in your family, or to friends, you can call on the PrEP line. Or if you're interested in any of our other programs, we can connect you through that line. So it's 872-215-1905.
Now, does University of Chicago have a website?
We do. For our program, it's hivelimination.uchicago.edu.
Wow. Well, y'all have enlightened. I've learned. I mean, I knew a little, but now I know a little bit more. I probably can learn a little bit more. But I want to thank you all for taking time out to come out and share with our listeners and viewers about HIV and AIDS, and how the importance of the PrEP, is it called the PrEP pill? Yep. The PrEP pill, and letting individuals know that they can come and get that, and they can also get health care. So hopefully that they'll be able to take this live stream interview and be able to share with their, friends and family. And like Mario said, maybe we can save a life or help someone else be more educated about practicing safe sex other than abstaining. Yeah. So I want to thank you guys. Anything else you guys want to say in closing?
I just wanted to say that, testing matters, just like Black Lives Matter. I got to put that out there.
Yeah.
And, we are a confidential safe space that allows for that to happen. And so if you are one person that is afraid to take an HIV test or haven't taken a test in a while, or need linkage to care, we are there for you at 1525 East 55th Street in Hyde Park, Suite 205. We also have a drop-in program called POP, which is on Thursdays, and that is from 4 to 7. So feel free to drop in, have something to eat, play a game. And also have social workers available and testers on site. So, yeah.
Thank you. And I want to say kudos to University of Chicago for being our sponsor and sharing this valuable information to save a life, because our lives do matter. And maybe the information that's being shared, maybe we learned it together, because a lot of it I didn't know. And sometimes not knowing correct information can affect us in the long run. So I want to thank you all for sharing it. We will post the audio version as well as the video version, so you all can watch it. And then Katie gave you the phone number to call, and she also gave you the website to you in 1 second. But I want you all to really take heed to this information. It is very critical. And so we want you to be educated and informed. And I want to thank all my listeners and viewers for Mario and Katie for coming in representing the University of Chicago. And Katie, would you give them that number?
Sure. It's 872-215-1905, and that's again our PrEP line at the University of Chicago Center for HIV Elimination.
And with working with University of Chicago, we'll be able to share more information with their programs and things that they have available. We'll let you know, via our PR media team and our social media team. So I want to thank you all, and my logo in closing: build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs, and that would be me. And we're out.
Thank you.
My name's Christina, and I drive with Uber because it gives me the time to spend with my son.
My name is Paul Roybal, and music's a big part of my life, and Uber allows me to keep it that way.
My name is Lisiane. I drive with Uber. It really helps me with my English.
My name is Miles Foster. Uber gives me the space to pursue my dreams.